live. That is what we love to see. So, one more to go. One more to go. Here in season 7 of Esports. Another couple of things riding on this week. Championship, unfortunately, is not one of them. I'll just put this into the chat 1 second. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a brilliant day. Just putting something in 1 second. Right, that's that in the chat. Should be good to go. I am actually going to load that up so that way I can see everything that is going on from a YouTube's comment perspective. But yeah, hopefully I hope everyone is having a good night up to this point. We're going to have a lot of running for the next a couple of hours, probably go to about 10 o'clock here overall. See what people are putting in the chat. Doesn't look like anyone's putting anything in the chat at this point in time. So I will get everything ready up and set to go. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to week 8 then of Esports. The audio is loud and clear. You love to see it. Thank you, DRS, for pointing that out. So we love to see it. It's going pretty good. I'm enjoying life at the moment. Yeah, very much ready for a little bit of a winter break, but you know, get a little bit more time on my hands now as soon as the season ends, which is brilliant. Always seems to be how that goes. But yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to things, to be honest with you. A lot still going on in the next week or so. Starting with Esports tonight. And then we'll speak at the end of this stream a little bit more about about what's going to happen in 2026. Well, that seems like a mad sentence, the fact that we are that close to the end of the calendar year already. But yeah, so there is 2 major things that can happen, and both of them are at the top in terms of finding out what is going to happen in the championship. So the championship is going to potentially be decided after qualifying. That would be a first time in ALR where the race has not at least, well, the championship has not at least gone down to the final race. Gone down to the final week technically, but the actual race session itself has decided every other championship in esports in ALR. So we are going to have to. So that might be a thing for the first time. And so the other thing is that NWR are potentially threatening the 1,000 points barrier. They will be the only team that even got close to that mark. Question is can they do it? Can they get that done? Go through the grid as it is now then. So I'm just very quickly going to get the standings up so we can run through in order. But yeah, that's the insane part of this to me. The fact that we could legitimately see someone come that close or potentially hit the 1,000 point barrier in this season. I don't think that's a feat that'll ever be replicated again, to be completely honest with you. So if it's going to happen, this is about as good of a chance as you're ever going to get. Everyone is now in the lobby. We've got a minute or so until start time. So we'll run through the teams. So ITM, Italian Team Motorsport, on 429 have brought Alessandro in the McLaren, Monster Cat in the GT3, and Henry in the GTR 18. Then you've got Project One Racing on 466. So those two are still going to be fighting it out for 4th place in the championship. They have brought the Dark Knight, who's racing every single race from start to finish. So there's commitment to the bit there for the Dark Knight for P1R, as he is in the GTR 18. You got Kevin in the AMG 20, and Witchell making his debut in the Lexus at the end of the season here for P1R, looking to see if he can put some points to his name. And then you've got Project Platypus, who are on 564, actually, only 31 points off the back of FGR. They got Perry in the GTR 18, BX in the 458, and Fatban making his, I think, potentially esports debut, and maybe definitely season debut for Project Platypus here in the M6 and 14. Well, currently lined up in 14th. And then we've got FGR, who are bringing Millis in the M6, or in the Beetle, and Vigo in the GTR 18. And if they had that lineup last week, we might not be seeing such a gap at the top of the championship. And then the team looking to break that 1,000 points barrier have brought Lewis in the Super 97, Jensen in the Suzuki VGT, two of the very familiar faces on that team, and then Monkus in the GTR 18, who has won his only ALR race that he has been a part of. So they've brought a strong lineup to try and potentially drag that total over 1,000. That being said, I'm going to put the starting soon in. We've got everyone in here. So we will get going in a moment. As soon as I see 31, we will tick over and let's get going. So that, I believe, is now. One last check of the settings. 16 times tire. 16 times times multiply, so a lot of the qualifying itself is going to be in the dark. I hope everyone is enjoyed. Someone's having a bit of a spin there in the end of the practice lobby. And it gets suddenly bright again. Don't forget, can't rain in Australia for some reason. So the threat of rain is not something they have to deal with today. Let's see if people are going to be able to... Well, who's going to be on pole? So if it is a NWR driver... If it is an NWR driver on the pole position, the championship will not go to the final race session itself. It will be won mathematically right now in this 10-minute session if a burgundy red car starts on pole position. I believe it's the only way mathematically they can manage that beat. The way I've been notified that they can manage that beat. So that's one bit of history that they're chasing. Be the only team in the first 7 seasons to have won a championship before the final race, before the final race session has even kicked off. And Jensen and Lewis out right now. The Dark Knight is the one serving the qualifying ban for P1R then. 1,000 points for reference. They are on 819, I believe, is the point tally for NWR at this point in time. So that is the lay of the land. It is 819. I'm going to very quickly have the rulebook open as well, just to make sure I can do quick maths in all of this. They need 181 points. 181 points to break the 1,000 point barrier. For reference, that... What, 181 points? What's the lowest we could realistically do here? So, what, 4th, 5th and 6th? Maybe? Something of that nature? Just doing quick off the top of my head maths as we go through into the first set of laps then. 50, that's 100, 160. Yeah, so they need 4th, 5th and 6th to mathematically break the 100-point barrier. There you go, there's the quick maths. So that's the idea. We'll continue to update that maths throughout the night depending on where they are on the track. But that's the lay of the land. Lewis is currently the first person headed up the hill. It's not a great sector there. He's sliding his car the entire way up. Just about avoiding the wall. I can't imagine it's too great of a lap time through the first couple of sectors. Here, I'm going to very quickly put in my my keyboard. That way I can set up the replay as and when that would be necessary. We go around the end of the first qualifying lap. Just heading down the hill for the first time. Bathurst, for everyone that is new to this, the final race of the season is double points, is the 187.5 mile race distance. The difference is from the main difference between this race and the rest of the calendar, that the final race of the season in ALR Esports is a rotating set of tracks. There is 4 of them. There is 4 tracks that happen at the end of the season in ALR, in Esports. I have my own reason I set them as a whole. They are Nürburgring, the Nordschleife essentially, for obvious reasons. 202.0 for Lewis there. I can imagine people will do better than that. Yet 201.5 for Jensen straight away. 217 for BX. Don't forget we've had an update changing how the cars drive ever so slightly over the last couple of well, I think it was Thursday there, potentially the update. A 218 for Aura puts him in 3rd. Mitchell in 5th, 202.0, 2,000ths of a second off of the back of Lewis. Miller's on a 202.2, 2/10ths of a second off the car in front. But yeah, the 4 tracks that we actually have are at the end are the Nordschleife for obvious reasons, Le Mans because it is just a pure endurance track, St. Croix because of the length, it gives it I think it's like a 4.5 minute lap, so it's just the stamina. Yeah, Thursday with the update, that makes sense. And then this, Bathurst, just purely because of how difficult Bathurst can be, just race to race. You don't really know how much you can control around Bathurst. Also, the final race of the season has a time of day multiplier in most cases. Next season is the first exclusion to that. It's the first time we'll have a race next season, week 8, that doesn't have a time multiplier attached to it, because St. Croix doesn't have a full day-night cycle. We're going with Aura at the moment. And look, I don't know if Aura's got fully impacted by the up the hill with the P1R driver. I think it was Kevin that got caught on the inside. Must have made a mistake. We will wait and see where he is at the end of the sector here, coming up under the arch. He is half a second up. That would be enough for provisional pole, so we'll keep an eye on this with Aura then. He will stick to this. Jensen and then BX is in front. 3.5 of a second is what currently separates Aura from the NWR driver on top. It might be more than that now though. Jensen 2.011. All of a sudden that gap is a lot more daunting. Aura to the line, needs a 2.01. He gets a 2.14. About 2.5 attempts off of the back of Jensen. BX is now into the pits. Witchell's into the pits. Alessandro into the pits. Lewis has not long since started his lap. I think he must have made an error on the other one. Monkus 2.012 and NWR are just pushing the limits at the moment. Vigo up in the 4th, and it's going back to what we've had all season. Last week they only showed up with 2 FGR and it kind of put the damper on things, but this week they've come up with a full squad It's effectively their strongest available squad that they've built in ALR. And with that, they've got a lot, well, a bigger fight to bring to NWR today, because they are going to be the thorn in the side. If NWR aren't going to break the 1,000 points barrier, it's going to be through FGR's driving. That is how it's going to be. Jensen in front, Lewis as well. Keep an eye on Lewis's lap here. And then we'll go just streaming back if he's not up through the going into the final sector. He's up 2/10. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. 6th at the moment. 2/10 is only good enough. Actually, isn't even good enough to move him up into the top 5. So he's going to have to find some time in this final sector to bring him into the top 5. They're not really a weak link in this NWR team. They're not really a weak link in the FGR team. You go round the final corner with Lewis as well. Jensen just in front. Doesn't look like he improved. But Lewis to the line absolutely will. But it's not enough to move up out of 6th place. Let's have a look at what Millis is doing then. Emery, 202.1. Aura, a 201.1. Aura, less than a quarter of a tenth to pole position now then. Millis to the line. 201.4. Good enough for 4th. Okay, so FGR just starting to take over a little bit. 202.6 for Perry. Alessandro on an outlap. Perry just finished up. Batman is on an outlap as well. Kevin and Monstercat both on outlap. So we actually will stick with Alessandro, who I expect a little bit more out of in this session. We are heading into the dark now. Very much into the dark of the night. We're going evening to evening here in Bathurst. We'll see if there's going to be anything here. Vigo and Witchell are in front, so they may cause a little bit of problems in terms of traffic down the line. I wonder if there's going to be anything for Alessandro. We're going up to the top of the hill. Is he going to be able to do anything? That looked like a little bit unsettled. Looked like he may have clipped the corner, clipped the wall as well in the process. So we're going down the hill now for Alessandro. He is up on his time. Not good enough to beat his own teammate right now, though. He's got to find a lot of time in these final couple of sectors. That's not the way to do it. Being a little bit skittish down the hill. That looked like a fairly clean exit right up until he got a little bit too much on the throttle. Alessandro now, though, heading to the end of the sector. Time's improving. Well, the time's improving here. It's going to be enough for Aura. Oh, it did not. No, it's not. It's now within 200ths of a second for Aura, who has got really damn close. Not close enough of taking that off Jensen. Don't forget, they're basically done for the day now. And they may have got one more in, but I'm not sure. Monkeys 156, 3,000ths of a second off the back of Aura. Alessandro to the line now then. Alessandro improved, but it isn't enough to take him outside. Well, inside the top 9. Everyone else has done their laps. Batman not improving. Kevin to the line now. He is well and truly not doing anything. He's just finished. Monstercat leads us with 2 more drivers then. Monstercat is one of them. I think Jensen might be about to wrap the championship up. This might be history. Down to the line, Monstercat not really doing much of anything. Comfortably off the back. Who's the one driver we currently have to watch go to the line? Is it Monkus? No, it's not. Someone is coming to the line now, and I can't tell who it is. Oh, it's Emery. Who is very much driving on the slow end. So, with that being said, that is game, set, and match. The championship will not go to the final race of the final race session. Jensen wrapped it up. 2:02.0 would only been good enough for 8th place. A lot of people very much on the quick side of things. Jensen followed by Aura, then Monkus, FGR are well and truly going to be the thorn in the side of NWR's 1,000-point hope. And this is more the FGR we're used to seeing. The FGR that we've been known for a few seasons, the FGR that could actually have been a triple champion if they had got a chance to take the fight to NWR, but they didn't really push it very hard at all. The mistakes killed them early on. We'll see if they're going to play any level of spoiler to this 1,000-point charge. Lewis is in ALR, yes. This is a good point for me to say that if you have a team, if you want to be a part, even if you are a solo driver who wants to be a part of esports, you can have plenty. There are plenty of teams in here willing to pick up drivers for people to race in next season. The cut-off for next season's team signing up is the end of the calendar year, the 31st of December. He did that in a Suzuki, yes. But yeah, season 8, we are taking sign-ups. We are going to be doing a little bit of recruiting in the near future. So if everyone watching can help us out with that, it would be appreciated. We want to bring the best level of racing to ALR we can possibly bring. Right, last week I had to split this and redo it all. This, I've not heard of anything happening post-update. So we are going to chance this a little bit. We are going to chance this a little bit. There's a world where this ends up going really badly. Jensen DCs at the end of lap 1 and we have to restart. There is a world that might happen, but for now, we are going to run this very cool. We are just going to run this on the end of the actual session itself. But yeah, that is NWR gaining their first bit of ALR history. Well, technically it's their second bit of ALR history this season. They're looking for the trifecta, the hat trick, the most important one they've set their eyes on from the beginning of the season. The 1,000-point total. Can FGR really just put the foot down and stop them from doing it? That's the big question. That is the massive question at the end of all this. There have been no problems similar. Brilliant. Brilliant, Platt. I love to hear that. So we are going to go now then. Going to go then. 49 laps of Bathurst. Just one last check of the settings. But yeah, if you appreciate, also whilst we're about to start, if you appreciate everything that's going on in ALR, please feel free to join the Discord, feel free to like and subscribe in the video as well. I like chilling, but I kind of have to. As we get ready for the lights here. Appreciate everyone joining us with 3, 4, 5 red lights, and for the final time this season, it's lights out, and away we go, down toward the first corner. There is not a lot of running space at all, but BX is going to take full advantage, and he launches himself into third straight away. Straight into third, and Monkus and Millis losing out a little bit there. Vigo on the side with Lewis now. Lewis is trying to get himself up into 6th. Starting on the medium tyres, dropping in behind, however. We've got I think that's Emery and Witchell in behind as well. Those two side by side as they head up the hill after turn 2. They're still there. Vigo now dropping off the back of Lewis, also on the medium tyres. Witchell is there with Emery and then Kevin, who also just had to try to have a go there. Apology to the starter. Dark Knight, Fat Band dropping to the back straight away. Fat Band needs to find a way through because that's not good news for him at all. We go back to the front. We've got the three-way fight, well, four-way fight for the lead straight away, and it involves three different teams, all three of the top three right now. Jensen has a little bit of an advantage, 6/10 of a second to Aura, who has a minute advantage to BX, who's gone on it like a house of fire off the start of the grid. And then you've got Monkis on the back after that. In fourth, it looks like Miller's had a little bit of a slide, and fifth in the bottom of the corner. Let's have a look at the tyres. Mediums for everyone besides BX and for Monkis. So third and fourth on the soft. First and second on the tyres then. So difference in tyres to start with. Evening. X90G, and we got through. Miller's on the medium. Mediums for Lewis then. Vigo still ahead of Witchell, as Vigo is on the mediums. Witchell is on the soft. Soft for Emery in 9th and Kevin in 10th. Montecar in 11th. Perry in 12th is also on the soft. Fatban, well, the Dark Knight on soft in P1R. Here we go. Fatban to the inside. Fatban looking to launch. I think there may have been a bit of incident there. We're going to have a very quick look at this. I think Monkers have been overtaken as well. We're going to have a look down the inside of Fatban. Is there anything? Oh, he got a little bit of the curb and it squeezed him out. Yeah, that's going to be a bit problematic. That is definitely going to be a bit problematic if that gets taken to the stewards. I think he just squeezed him off the track a little bit there. The Fatman just trying to get through. He's not the position nonetheless. Yeah, at the moment, I reckon he'll take the 5 seconds if he was given it just to advance himself up the grid a little bit. I don't think he wants to be back here. Henry still behind Witchell. Then Vigo in front of that. The cards for FGR and for NWR, just managing the tyres at the moment. The medium tyres over the soft. They don't want to drop back, but at the same time, they have to be able to keep. They don't want to drop back, and they have to keep position as well. So they've just got to try and manage the race a little bit here on the medium tyres. Monkis is just starting to put the foot down, though. There's Aura. And Aura doing a good job of holding on. Monkis needs to get past Aura for NWR here. The soft tyres give Jensen a little bit of buffer. Don't forget, Jensen and Aura are on the same tyres. If they are if they stay on the same tyres, they're going to be roughly in the same vicinity the entire time. And, well, pressure is... Well, Jensen's usually mostly immune to pressure, but not everyone can be fully immune to pressure, and mistakes do happen. So you're going to have to be electric right now for the full 49 laps of Bathurst, which is a long ask. It's why Bathurst is one of the calendar enders, one of those 4 that I mentioned earlier that goes at the end of an ALR calendar. It is so taxing to take 49 laps, a double, well, a 1.5 times the length race with time multiplier and everything else around this track. It's well, if you're going to do something around this track, it's the most difficult of conditions to do so. Monkis trying to flat out after Aura now. Into the inside, he's taking a look. Aura not even phased. Didn't even blink at the sight of Monkis trying to make a move to the inside. Looking through, Aura just trying to push towards Jensen. That way Monkis will have a bit more of a difficult time overtaking. Don't forget, we will be going through the dark. We'll go back into the light later on into this race. I reckon that will probably be in around, well, about 20 laps, 25 laps from now. BX has dropped off the back of the group of 3 at the front. Then we've got Lewis a second behind Miller, so we've got Vigo there as well on the back of the NWR car, with Witchell followed by Emery, and then Kevin, then Montecat, Perry ahead of Alessandro, who hasn't had a good start at all, with Fatban, who's dropped back past Alessandro, actually dropped back to 14th, with the Dark Knight currently at the rear of the grid. Everyone is electric in terms of the pace. When you see the Dark Knight, who has been regularly lobby A the entire season, who just dropping himself, well, being dropped to the back of this grid, you know the pace is something substantial. Perry trying to go after Montecat. That gap is slowly closing down. Don't forget, everyone at the back here is on the soft tyre. If you're on the medium tyre and you're back here, you wouldn't be so concerned, but the fact that you're all on the softs is a bit of a room, well, no room for error anymore. And there's an error straight away. Perry got on the inside curb and just knocks Monstercat off. Fatban's off the track. I think Monstercat's been cleaned up. Alessandro's in the wall, and ITM are going to have a lot of questions at the end of that one. Why? Can you please just give me a camera angle of that one, please? Okay, we're not getting camera angles at all. God damn it. I'm not going to replay all for some reason. That sucks. There we go. Go back to the front then. Did not look good. Perry into the side of Emery, of Monstercat, sorry, and it came back. Monstercat got cleaned up by somebody else. Alessandro ended up in the wall. It was an absolute nightmare. I'd rather not be a steer. There we go. Look at that one. Jensen still ahead of Aero, still ahead of Monkus. BX has been added back to the mix here. Don't forget, third and fourth are still on soft tyres. First and second are on the medium tyres. So there is a conflicting strategy that is already developing. Miller's ahead of Lewis, ahead of Vigo, and then Witchell, and then Emery, and then Kevin. And Perry ahead of Fat Banners. Project Platypus kind of benefit from all the carnage that they caused. And the three at the back, I can imagine ITM are not particularly happy as they try to charge down Project One Racing for that fourth place in the championship. And Project Platypus had their own fight of the day, fight to go through as well, because if they had done well, they had outperformed FGR, there may have been a second place on the cards for them. And Fat Ban and Perry are off to, quite frankly, potentially the worst start they could have fathomed at this point. Kevin will be happy with the in the middle of nowhere situation he finds himself in. If Vigo can get Lewis, then this could get very interesting in terms of trying to find a way to that 1,000 point barrier, that 181 point total they need on the night. Don't forget, they've already got 4. They already have 4 from the fastest lap. No, not from the fastest lap, from the pole position for Jensen. They technically only need 177 to reach the 1,000 points from this race. The fastest lap currently being at Fat Ban would have raised 4 more that they could have potentially got. Well, Witchell here on the back of Vigo, is on the back of Lewis. Don't forget, Vigo and Lewis are both on medium tyres, so 2 by 2 realistically in terms of the strategy calls at the moment. Witchell on the soft, not able to do anything. We've got a lot of headlights going through. Millis on the mediums in 5th, doing everything he wants on his own at the moment. BX is going to have to be able to charge down Monkus now, because Monkus did not look in control of his car up the hill at all. He hit one wall on the inside. I think he hit one on the outside as well. He is now under major threat. He looked kind of lucky he didn't get damage off that. That first one in particular looked like he hit it somewhat hard. He has actually gained a little bit of advantage on PX after all of that. And Aura able to survive the hill. Jensen's still in front, but it's only 4 tenths of a second. The Beetle is in second. The Suzuki VGT currently leads the way. First and third, it's 80 points, and then I believe it's 74 or 72, respectively. Have a look in a second. Or under fire now from Monkus. He'll look to the inside here, surely. Actually, he'll look to the outside. Aura's going to defend. Aura defending the long way. Monkus. Oh, a little bit of contact on the way through, trying to keep himself tight. Did, in fact, get that position. It was a well-worked move. BX is going to go on through as well. Round the long way on Aura. And the floodgates are open. In the space of about 20 seconds, Aura went from second to 4th. And the 2 soft tyres have gone on through. The problem that Jensen now sees is that whilst it's Monkus behind him, BX is not going to give this up. If BX tries to go after Monkus, then Jensen will be under a lot of fire. Jensen got that second advantage, however, at this point in time. I wonder if there's going to be how this is going to unfold. It's going to be very interesting strategy-wise, to be honest with you. 49 laps, extremely hard to do in the first place in terms of a back-first race, but when you add strategy to it, I reckon people are going to make mistakes a lot quicker, and you've got the time of day as well, so you got to manage what time you want to be on what tyre, given the fact that every bit of the heating and everything in those tyres are different as the time of day progresses. So it's going to be very interesting to see how everyone manages this. Monkis is on a flying lap right now, effectively just trying to do his qualifying lap in the car at the moment. Right on the back of Jensen. Again, just a little bit of a slide on the exit of the corner. May hamper the ability to overtake, but I can imagine Jensen's not going to do too much in terms of defending here. I can imagine this is just a get out of the way, I'm on soft tyres kind of measure. They don't want to fight, because if they start fighting and they make a mistake, one of them hits the other one. And there you go, the organised team orders. As Monkis is on through, the team captain getting out the way early and fairly. Doesn't lose a position out either, apart from the one to his own teammate. A well-executed team order. BX is now on the back of him though, so Jensen will have to defend the next one. Monkis is going to hope that Jensen gives him as much time as humanly possible. 2:01.9, currently the fastest lap of the session. Imagine that NWL will take that. That will make it, as it stands, only needing 173 on the track to hit that 1,000-point barrier. Jensen's been vocal about it since the middle of the season. That 1,000 points is what he's wanted the entire time. Hasn't quite had the perfect weekend yet. They had the 1, 2, 3, but they haven't had fastest lap and pole to go with it. They've had separate ones on each occasion, but not all of them together. Jensen a little bit wide, and BX has got an advantage now. Or has he? They're going side by side up the hill. This is going to end badly. BX is there, but he's hit the wall. And Jensen is staying in front, and Monkis in the way. I don't know if BX will find that particularly fair. Jensen made a massive hash out of the third corner. I want to be avoiding doing that again. BX just kind of got squashed a little bit up the hill into turn 5 and 6, and there is nothing you can really do. If you're on the outside in those corners too wide, you're kind of stuck. You just kind of have to, a little bit of hopes and prayers at that point. BX just about to drop outside the second. Aura is going to go to the inside here. Aura's going to try this. Try to take the position back on BX, which is an interesting choice. I would have thought, knowing that, well, I guess he would probably realise that BX is on soft tyres by now. I would have had someone relay that information to him. I'm surprised he didn't kind of just start using him as a bump draft. Oh, Aura's into the pits, that's why. Aura's into the pits. Oh, that's an early one. Not one I saw coming. Not one I saw coming in the slightest. Okay, so that brings a different strategy element into all of this. We go back to the track. Perry is behind the Dark Knight, who's now in 10th. Everyone having a bit of a mare. Oh, Vigo to the wall! Vigo must have had an issue. We're going to have another look. If we can. For some reason, the camera angles are not actually working for me. Oh, okay. Yes, we're not having camera angle today. The replays today. My keyboard is working, so it's going through each one in turn. That's just very interesting. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Looks like we've got a lot of issues then. Whitshaw's up in a 5th. He's just going to try and hunt down Millis as much as he can, because Millis is on the back of BX. Don't forget, FGR's already had one driver hit the wall on the entrance into the pit lane. Looked like there may have been a lot of carnage in the back as well, because those positions are drastically different from the last time we saw them. 3-second penalty for Vigo for cutting the pit lane, so his night goes from bad to worse. Aura is about to come into the lane of Montecat here. Montecat looks to be a few, maybe a couple of laps away from pitting. I would assume that Aura doesn't want to catch him up in the middle of the hill. Alessandro right behind Perry. And we know that Perry and everything happened earlier on. Him, Monster Cat and company, all those guys in the wall early. I'm not sure if it was actually that incident or something that happened later on that caused it. They caught the rapid shift in all of the positions. Dark Knight currently in 10th, but he'll take that. After the way this started, Batman is charging down Kevin. And then we've got Emery and Lewis. So Lewis has dropped back off the back of, well, dropped behind Emery now. We're just starting to put things together. See if there's going to be anything for Lewis to try and steal this position back. I don't really think there will be, but it could be possible down the straight here. Looking to the outside, surely got to dip to the outside. Lewis does dip to the outside, so they are going to go side by side all the way through turn 2. Emery has just got a magnificent exit there. Look at that. Straight on the throttle early in the corner as well. Gave Lewis the space Lewis needed. Never really had any threat. Especially on that kind of exit. So Emery still advantage over Lewis, who may have got a little bit of damage. Nope, he survived the damage there, but he did hit the wall on the way through. Just got to be a little bit more conservative places here, Lewis. Oh! Talking about having to be conservative, Emery somehow held it. That half-second penalty is the least of his worries. I have no idea how Emery has held that. That is utterly magnificent. What a save. There we go. Emery served in the other half-second penalty. Now Lewis goes through. Lewis will take advantage of that then. We'll continue on into this race. Let's see whether or not that disconnecting and reconnecting my keyboard may actually matter. Millis into the pits now then. I don't think he's done the same as his teammate did earlier on. So Monk is 2 seconds ahead of Jensen. Jensen 2 seconds ahead of BX, who's had a bit of an issue in the second phase of this first stint. That ban into the pits off the softs. Kevin into the pits as well. Perry stays out. Alessandro stays out. Dark Knight stays out. Wonder if they can all actually go the extra lap. The fuel looking a little bit shallow at the moment, that fuel gauge. Or out ahead of Millis, I can only assume. And soft tyres on the car now for Aura. And there's Millis in the background. Montecat is there. Montecat hasn't pit yet. You got to remember that. Montecat has stayed out an extra couple of laps. Aura is in front of the group, but Millis now needs to get past Montecat and needs to get past Montecat really quickly. Don't forget, 4th, 5th and 6th or equivalent is enough for NWR to break that 1,000-point barrier. There we go, Montecat just clipping the wall a little bit there. That might open the door for Millis to have a safe passage through at some point. Doesn't look particularly comfortable here, Montecat. I wonder if Millis is going. I wonder if Millis will go. I wonder if he will. This would be absolutely magnificent. Oh my God. Oh my God. How has he held that? How has he got the move done, and how have neither of them hit a wall? He has said that from a long way back and got everything right. What a move that is! His car looked to south the entire goddamn way. That is unbelievable. Wow. If you want to overtake the Mont suggestion, you've got one right there and then. That that is just... I'm sorry, it's taken me away from the rest of the race for a minute. I just want to marvel in what the hell Lewis just did. Oh my God. Wow. It is very rare that I am speechless, but Jesus Christ. Wow. Oh, well. Didn't expect that. That's one hell of a move. Witchell still out of the pits at the moment. Hasn't taken his first stop. Monken has. Went on to a second set of soft tyres. Jensen is on his first set of soft tyres of starting on the medium, so he doesn't have to use the mediums again at all this race. Aura on a set of soft as well. He's in the same boat as Jensen, so that 1.5 seconds is the actual gap between the two drivers in this race. Miller's on the softs. I believe he started on a medium tyre as well, so he's just going to try and focus on closing as much of that gap as he can. The X onto the medium tyres, so that's his fulfillment of the two different compound rule. On the final race of the season here, the top six, minus Witchell, all have sorted that pit stop strategy out. Well, and Monkus actually, because he's done two sets of soft. Lewis on the soft now as well. Don't forget, he started on the medium tyres, so he won't have to use another set of mediums for the race if he chooses not to. Emery onto a second set of soft, so that will require a medium down the line. He is still relatively close to the back of Lewis, though. I reckon he won't be complaining too much. Witchell into the pits off the soft tyres. Perry 2 seconds ahead of Fatban. Fatban on the medium, Perry on the soft. So Perry went into a second set of soft, a medium tyre. It's what's gone on Fatban, so he doesn't have to use another set of mediums if he chooses not to. Alessandro on a second set of softs trying to chase down Fatban. He will get past Fatban. It's a case of when, not if. You roll through into the end, final chicane on the lap. And it doesn't look like Alessandro is going to be fruitful in the final couple of corners at all. Fatban will hold on for a little while longer. He needs a good exit out of turn one, though, otherwise he's going to have a lot of struggles of holding Alessandro back, especially with the fresh tyre. And it being a softer compounded tyre as well. Alessandro should have this fairly easily. A better exit will get the McLaren safe. I don't know if he got close enough to do any damage to Fatban here. Let's have a look. We'll stick with it. It's about 3.5 tenths. I don't really know that's a long enough gap. Oh, it's going to be close. He moves to the inside. I think there may have been contact on the way through there. Alessandro lets him back through. And that probably means Alessandro assumed the same that we did. There'll be contact on the way through from Alessandro, so Fatban regains his position for the Dark Knight there. On medium tyres now in 12th, with Vigo in 13th and a long way back to go for him. Kevin in 14th on the mediums, and Montecat rears the field. Monka still doing a good advantage at the moment. Oren Jensen still basically neck and neck the entire way through. Have we got any decent battle on the way through? Witchell is actually ahead of Lewis now. Witchell on a medium tyre. Lewis on a soft. Don't forget, this is the reverse of how they started in terms of the tyres, so both of them have now served their mandatory allocation of tyres in terms of what they actually have to use. And we'll see if anything's going to happen. Witchell losing out to Lewis there. Straight forward overtake down the straight. Oh, Witchell getting pushed off the track there by Lewis. It looks like we are out of the camp. Yeah, I think we're out of the replays, to be honest with you. Not really getting any hope of that. Let's see if this will help. It don't look like it will. I think I might still have to sort this out, because we did have replays to start. I'm not entirely sure what is causing the replays to not work. I have to maybe see that one down the line then. In the steward's room. Witchell down into 8th now, so Witchell's had a bit of a mare on the following of that incident between him and Lewis. Fatban on the back of Alessandro now. After Alessandro finally got past him. in the last lap or so. We saw at the beginning of the lap Alessandro was in the position to make contact on the way through, but clearly he must have made his way through now as well. Vigo has to start making his way back. He's got the pace. He's got to start making his way back through the pack here for FGR. Second place should be easily in control for the group for FGR. It's not what they wanted. They wanted the 3-peat. They couldn't get the 3-peat. NWR was just simply too strong. I wonder if there's going to be any sort of fighting going on. In the middle part of this race, one lap 13 of 49. About 1.4 between Alessandro and Fatban. That gap come down because Alessandro didn't have the greatest exit of the hill in the world. That's about 1.1 now. We'll see if that continues to come down any further. We've got Lewis and BX. Okay, so now we're going for a battle here. Let's have a look. BX versus Lewis. I reckon Lewis is going to have a good shot at BX in the next lap or so. I wonder if there's going to be anything. It won't be down towards turn 1, but I reckon Lewis might have a good shot at this down towards turn 2 with a good exit, which he didn't get. He definitely didn't get that. That was a bit sketchy. Caught this car just a little bit, went a little bit sideways, still should have a good enough run. It's going to require a side-by-side overtake now, though. Instead of just the clean one he was hoping to get, he is going to go down the inside of BX. And it's going to be easy work. How he get past the Project Platypus driver for 5th place at the moment. Don't forget, everyone's strategies will come back at the end. But in the case here, I think this would be properly for position. Don't forget, Lewis has already used his medium tyre. BX has just turned onto his medium tyre. So we'll see how that continues to play out. Or 2.3 seconds off the back of Jensen now, not really being able to keep up. 0.6 to a second slower on that last lap. Jensen is just an absolute madman at this point in time with the fact that he is just flying. He has all the pace in the world up to this point. I wonder if that is going to continue on for the rest of the session. As it stands, 1 and 2 for NWR. That not quite enough on its own, but it would just require a third finisher. That's all it would require. 1-2 would just require the Lewis finishes the race. Don't forget, if you DC and disconnect, you don't really get the points unless it's too late into the race where you've actually done a substantial number of laps. So you've got to get over that point, finish the actual race itself, get Lewis to finish the race, and then you can have 1-2 and get that 182 or 181 that they need that way. I wonder if there's going to be anything for Aura, well, that Aura can do to stop the 1-2 at the very least. Miller's is there in 4th, quite literally on his own. BX is a second clear of, BX is now a second behind, of Lewis, who has now cleared the Ferrari. Emery 3 seconds off the back of that on soft tyres, still have to go onto a medium at some point. Witchell isn't in the same position. Perry 2.4 behind Witchell, doing a very good job of securing P1R that 4th place. Don't forget, we have our own little fights in the middle here. We have our own little fights in the middle of the pack in terms of who can get second, who can get 4th. Whereas ITM and P1R fighting for 4th. There's only 20-something points in between those two, and then there's just over 30 in between Project Platypus and FGR. Don't forget that Vigo dying will help Project Platypus out just a little bit, but it won't help him out if Perry's just going to have a mare of a corner like that. It didn't look good in the slightest, almost, barely avoided danger. Vigo is right on the back of Fatman now. Don't forget, I think Vigo had a medium tyre start as well, so I'd be very surprised. Well, Fatban will be then fighting for position with Vigo. Don't really see Fatban winning this, to be honest with you. Alessandro serving a penalty in front of the group we're currently watching. Here comes Vigo, looking to the inside of Fatban. This is going to be dead to rights, all the way down the straight. Doesn't even need the first corner, doesn't even need the chicane. The chicane almost came late enough that he might have been able to go after Alessandro. Alessandro, after the penalty, dropping all the way back to these two. Vigo could have a real good shot if he elects to go into the final corner. He doesn't elect to go into the final corner. Will he go into turn 1 or will he go into turn 2? That's the real question now, because he is going to go at some point. Cannot be stuck behind Alessandro for too long, because Alessandro will make you pay for that. Vigo getting out of this first corner. Didn't go after Alessandro in the first corner. Now had the slipstream. Now had a long straight to enact an overtake here, with Alessandro pulling in front. But he is within 3 tenths. If he is going to make an overtake, it's going to have to be a dive to the inside, much like he saw his teammate do earlier. He elects not to do so. So Alessandro is going to be safe for a little while here. We are going to continue to watch it, just to see if there's any sort of mistake, any sort of move that could actually happen between the 3 drivers here. They're well and truly the closest drivers on track right now. Vigo clipping the wall a little bit. We'll give Alessandro a minute, when I say minute, I really mean a minute amount of breathing space. It brings him up to about 6 tenths of a second advantage. We go round. Vigo still trying to catch Alessandro. Gets a good exit down toward the bottom of the hill. That gap's dropped below 5 tenths of a second now. Vigo executing flawlessly down the hill. Alessandro, as soon as I said something, that flawless execution just went by the wayside. I think, yeah, Vigo's definitely not going to get anywhere near Alessandro now. Not down this straight. We'll see that Vigo now has to set himself up into turn 2 again. He has to try and set Alessandro up for something. Or will he wait? Will he even wait this time? Does elect to wait through the final corner. I wonder if you're a Vigo, if you just make a move early, potentially, just to avoid what happened last time, because he didn't get a good exit here. He went a little bit on the throttle, and Alessandro made you pay because he couldn't get the overtake done. This time, it looks a lot cleaner here from Vigo as we look down the first straight technically. Down between turn 1 and 2. Vigo now looking, pushing, maybe going for an inside look, but he is 2 tenths of a second away, and Alessandro just barely enough, but enough nonetheless. It looked like Vigo right on the back. He needed to get past Alessandro there, to be honest with you. He's needed to do it for a couple of laps now. He is really being held up. Perry 6 seconds away. I reckon Vigo would have been half that. It would have been maybe a quarter of that gap down by now. Witchell still 2 seconds ahead of Perry. Emery 2.7 ahead of Witchell. Right on the back of BX. 8 tenths of a second at that advantage now. Sitting between the two of them. BX has not had the same fortune Aero and Jensen have had when they put the medium tyres on at the start. Looked like that would probably have been, maybe, with the pack grouped up, the ability to overtake lessened. The medium tyres may have been the smarter choice to start on. We'll see later on. The strategy will tell us eventually. Emery is going to close in on BX at some point. Over 4.7 seconds off the back of him now, and it is just it's just a time trial. Now for Jensen, who did identical laps on 14 and 15, a 2:01, 1:21. The lap before that, 1:15. Absolutely incredible start to the stint. Nothing below a 1:07. 0:17 rather. He might actually be pushing his way towards Monkiss at the moment. Which would have been something I wouldn't have said. I reckon I wouldn't have said beforehand. We've got Alessandro now a second clear of Vigo, who must have had an issue. 2:03.5 on that last lap is definitely not going to cut it. That's going to cause more problem than it is solutions for FGR. Montecat currently at the back, and we've got Kevin in 14th. The Dark Knight not that far off the back of Fat Band, finally into view. Wonder if there's going to be any sort of overtaking opportunities coming up. 8/10 of a second currently sits between Vigo and Alessandro as Vigo starts to claw that gap again. Oh, I don't know if that was intentional, but that didn't look comfortable in the slightest for Vigo. Rupi, you may have missed one of the best overtakes I think I've ever seen from your own teammates. Miller's absolutely, genuinely still baffled by that overtake. It is a gutsy call to make a move right then in terms of actually making a move down the hill. It's not the first place I would have chosen, but managed to make it stick. It's just incredible. BX has now opened the gap to Emery just a little bit further. That's over that 1 second marker, which might start to close that back in. And soft tyres starting to go off just a little bit. 5.7 now for Aura compared to Jensen. Jensen is just flat out the quickest man on track, and I don't think... Oh, on the last lap it was close. The rest of the stint, it's not been particularly close. Apart from that lap 13. 2.7 right now for Monkiss in the lead, but hasn't really been able to do much to extend it to his teammate at the moment. Not that they actually care, because it's not the drivers, in which order the drivers end that matters. It's the fact that they are 1-2 and they don't look like they're under threat for 1-2 right now. I think we might be starting to see the sun come up. Well, the first glimpses of the sun coming up here. Almost halfway into the race. .6 now. It looks like Monkiss is just starting to fade a little bit. 7.6 is the advantage between Jensen and Aura is about 5 seconds clear of his teammate as well after Evening Latari. Through. Lewis is 7 seconds off the back of Miller. Everyone just starting to spread out a little bit now. Winchell has caught Henry at the rate of knots at the moment. We'll see if that's going to continue on. That was 2 seconds the last time we saw it. It's now 1.3, and those tyres are going to come back for Winchell sooner rather than later. You can already see that most of the people that pit early off of the soft tyres, or off of the medium tyres when the first fuel stops happened, are just starting to fade away. That gap is now within a second. The longer this goes, Winchell should have Emery in his back pocket sooner rather than later here. 2:02.5 for Winchell. His fastest lap of the session so far. Oh, that didn't look good. That looked like a lot of grass. I think Emery's going to survive now because of it. It didn't look like, yeah, that first sector half attempt down. Surprised it was only half attempt down. It didn't look good by any means, any stretch of the imagination. That's a certain. You continue on. Winchell should have a line in the next lap or so then. 2.3 for Jensen now. He is just closing in. Every moment he gets is just a closing on his teammate. 2:02.3 in the last lap for Monkiss. Which means I reckon Jensen was just inside that. 2:01.5. Look at that. Eating in that 0.8 of a second. to take it under the take it under 3 seconds the gap. Or 8 seconds off the back of Jensen. He's just struggling at the moment to keep pace. I mean, if you gave him third, I reckon he probably would have been alright with third. You will see though. I don't know if I reckon he probably would have came in with grandeurs of winning the race off the back of his own title win recently in a different league. Oh, Miller's 4 seconds off the back of Aura. That gap's come down. It was 4.8 the last time we saw it. It's 4.1 now. Continue with Lewis there, 7.3. A little bit of a snap at the start of the lap there from Lewis on lap 21 of 49. Emery 2.1 off the back of BX, so that gap is going to come down consistently, which a good exit would be able to get Emery here, to be honest with you, and I think he's got it. I think he's got a good exit. I don't know if it's a good enough exit to really push the boundary there. It's going to be close. Oh, it's not going to be that close. It's still half a second the gap. Very intriguing. I'm not entirely sure how he'd managed to hold that side of the gap through the back straight there, Emery, but still well. Oh, Witchell. That might have been a bit wide. Bit wide, yeah. Witchell just getting a little bit too much of turn 4. Give Emery a little bit of room to breathe, but Emery just hit a wall. Emery just hit a second wall. And the sun starts to come up in Australia. Don't really think Emery's done himself any favours there in the slightest. Emery's just given Witchell a major lifeline back into this fight. We'll see if Emery is able to defend from P1R here. Don't forget, ITM P1R fighting for that final spot. Well, that 4th spot, sorry, in the championship. All right, into the pits for a second time. Came in early, was on lap 7 that he came in to start with, so on to doing a 15 lap stint for his second stint of the race. Wonder if he continues to do that kind of stint for the rest of the time. That's only a 1 stop from here. Can imagine it's 2 sets of softs, maybe a 13 and a 12 then, as we are now well into early morning. I'm out Panorama. Jensen 3.2 off the back of on the back of Moncus. So it looks like Moncus is just starting to re-establish his advantage. It's taken him a little while to do so. Jensen with a 3 on the last lap will definitely help Moncus out. And Miller's there 13 seconds off the back of the duo. Lewis starting to close in that gap as well. That was 7 seconds or just over, now into the 6s. So he is just slowly but surely starting to make edgeways into that gap. BX further 10 seconds back on the medium tyres at the moment. The problem with the way BX did it is that he's left himself too open on the medium tyres. He's just been dragged, everyone's just been dragged away pretty much. And I guess that's the gamble you do with going on to medium second if everyone else starts on it. You go onto the softs early, you have to make the overtakes. If you can't make the overtakes, it becomes a problem. Witchell ahead of Emery. Witchell got him. Not really getting to see it. 0.2 of a second. Emery's going to fight this back. Witchell's going to defend this inside line. Here we go. Emery fighting all the way back, and it's back in front. You see Aura in the background there. On a set of soft tyres, so this will turn into a freeway sooner rather than later. Moncus out into the pits as well. Winchell is there with Emery, and Emery is electing to go in. So, Winchell has now been released. The only problem for Winchell is now Aura is right on the back of him, and you do not want that. Monkis is out. Monkis is out ahead of BX. Monkis has a sizable advantage to Aura, who is technically net P3. I wonder how this is going to shape out then. Aura, 36.4th the lead, entire 10 seconds. An entire 10 seconds off the back of Monkis now then. Oh, he might be less than 10 if Monkis keeps sliding like that. Monkis just doing barely enough to keep it together. That's what it is. It's going to be a lot of not driving against each other at the moment. So it's just going to be a case of, can you keep the complacency at bay? You keep the errors at bay, and if you can keep the errors at bay, you'll win this race, especially if you're in Monkis' position right now. Or that of Jensen as well, for that matter. Either or will definitely be a good sign for those two if they can keep the complacency at bay. Very good. They've been doing a good job of that so far this season. Aura is all the way on the back of Winchell now. Winchell's going to have to defend like a madman, but I don't think that defense is going to last too long somehow. Jensen into the pits then. We'll see how close he comes out to Aura. Aura, 10th and a half back. You can see them both in the same shot now. And Winchell, who lost out in the last lap as well to Emery, is going to have to defend like his life depends on it. But hasn't really done too much to do so. Aura blast by. And Aura's up in a 6th. Miller's into the pits now as well. Lewis and BX, the only ones in the top 6 that haven't pit twice. Jensen out the pits now. There's BX. I think he may have beat BX out, or has he? Oh, this is going to be huge. If BX can make this move, he can potentially hold Jensen up for a little while. This is going to be massive in who wins this race in particular. Also, if Aura can get back into it, and the answer is no. Jensen parks the middle of the track there. And that is very good defending. Right in the middle. No option to the outside. No option to the inside. No room to go. Had to back out of it. So Jensen put himself in the prime position to get that everything right. Now BX is going to be a thorn in Aura's side. 4 seconds, 14. So it is still about 10 seconds to Monkis, but the gap to Jensen, not so much. Jensen has about a 6-second disadvantage to Monkis out in front. But I reckon NWR would like to call the whistle here. 1, 2, 3, fastest lap on pole as it stands. Before the pit stops for Lewis. It is a perfect day. Jensen got a second penalty. Jensen's got a second penalty, so here comes BX will go by. You can see Aura in the background. Jensen's using a little bit of the Esports trick to slow him down a little less. Make sure Aura doesn't catch up too drastically. The problem for Jensen is it doesn't really matter. Aura's there and thereabouts. Aura started on the medium tires, remember. Aura will just do one more set of softs to the end after this. So Jensen's going to have to fight for his life a little bit. It's within a second as Lewis comes into the pits. That perfect day is just broken up just a little bit. BX still advantage over Jensen. Jensen getting the toe off BX is going to help him against Aura for now. But as soon as BX starts to come into the pits, it's going to scream problems for Jensen holding off Aura. Crucial that Jensen makes this move back on BX at some point in the very near future. But Aura is right there. He is right there now. Jensen looked. Jensen's still looking. Jensen's going. Jensen's got him. Oh, BX made a mistake to go wide, and now he's caught Aura. Oh, he's got himself in front of Aura, and Aura's getting blocked just a little bit. There's no way by for the German. And Jensen is going to be thanking his lucky stars that this is how this is going to end. This is going to proceed. Unless Aura is going to have an absolute... This would have to be something special. To make that move happen there, that would have had to be something incredibly special. We've seen it once, but I reckon that probably would have been bigger. Aura looking the outside, should probably be focusing more on trying to get the inside line against BXC. He needs to make this move. He needs to make this move quickly before Jensen starts to pull away. I think he's going to have a real good shot at this. No slipstream now for BX. As we see Aura got to pull to the inside now. Got to move to the inside. Got himself there. And got himself in front. Jensen hasn't taken too much of an advantage of this. He's only a second up. So Aura hasn't lost too much ground. Don't forget they are fighting for position quite explicitly. Head to head straight for second place. And that gap, 1.2 seconds now between Jensen and Aura. 9 seconds out in front is Monkis, who went on to another set of softs. We'll have the mediums to go at the end. So we'll have another look at this where everyone just starts to close that gap back in on Monkis later on in this race. Aura currently has a good shot at pulling Jensen a little bit closer. He's currently on purple. Witchell is actually there in the background as well. That goes to speak of how well Witchell is doing in this stint. He is actually legitimately catching BX. Although they're about to catch him BX, he's in shot for the first time. Got Aura in within a second of Jensen now. Witchell ahead of Millis. Millis is pit and he's still ahead of Lewis. So he's actually sizably ahead of Lewis, who's just ahead of Fatman, who needs to pit for a second time in due course. Dark Knight is there, and Emery's pit for onto another set of softs, so following Monk's strategy. And this race up to this point is particularly clean through turn 4. Kevin ahead of Alessandro with Vigo in 13th, then Perry, and then Monster Cat, who's had a really rough day at the office. Vigo onto the medium tyres now then. Aura just in and out of that second gap to Jensen. Jensen's going to be hoping to hold on to that for as long as humanly possible. As soon as Aura starts hitting the straights a second back, Jensen will start to find problems. Talking about problems, I think he might be about to step into a German-sized problem here. The Beetle starting to chase him down. One good exit will give Aura everything he needs to have a go. Only 2/10 off the fastest lap of the entire session at 1:01.07. Jensen, for reference, 1:014 on the prior lap. Currently faster than first sector, but I don't think that matters. They can see Aura pulling in. Slowly but surely reeling him in. We'll see if there's going to be anything in this for up the hill. I don't really think there is. It's 0.8 of a second. Not currently the closest battle we have on track. Here comes Kevin and Alessandro. I think Alessandro just blasted by Kevin. Alessandro will start to open that gap up then. That didn't look good there. Someone must have had a bit of a problem. I think there might have been Monster Cat has had a really rough day of things for ITM. Jensen sliding his way down the hill. Will open the door for Aura now. The German looking for a way past. I think he may just be too short, and he is going to be slightly too short for for the move to actually happen. Aura's got got a credible threat now though to Jensen's 1-2 race here with Monkis, who is far in the distance at the moment, 10 seconds up. Aura's got a threat for that second place. Within 0.2 of a second now. Don't forget Aura and Jensen are on the same strategy to the end now. They won't be pitting on the same lap, but they will be on the same strategy. It's going to be close. 0.3 of a second. A good exit is all he needs. A good exit is all Aura needs for an absolute chance. Oh, even with Jensen's poor exit, he's still got a better one than Aura, because Aura hit the grass. Oh, that would have been an easy overtake. The opportunity was put to him on a silver platter. Just couldn't take advantage of it. Jensen doesn't look as clean as he has been on the last couple of stints at this point in this one. His third stint not treating him anywhere near as well. Maybe the difference in time of day is just getting to him a little bit. Doesn't need to get warmed up to the tire again, potentially. He's up by 0.6 of a second on Aura now. So Aura's got to regroup and go again. Monkis was 10.5 clear. He's only 10.2. He was 10.7 clear. He's only 10.2 now. Tires are a little bit worse for wear. Followed by Jensen. Just again, a little bit awkward on the exit. Aura is going to eat into that gap now then. Just a little bit awkward. You can tell that was how that was going. Down the bottom of the hill. Aura had pulled it within 0.7, so we get a second again. That probably drops within 0.6 of a second, 6.5 of a second at the very least. And all we are is in the same position as we were before. One good exit for Aura. It's going to be enough to put him in position. I wonder if there's going to be that opportunity. I don't think it'll be this lap in terms of being able to make the overtake. He is going to have a real good opportunity if Jensen gets this wrong, which I don't think he got it right. He is going to avoid doing it too much damage to it though. Or he's going to pull that gap in a little bit more. Jensen doing a very good first sector. Don't forget Monkis is currently the fastest man on the track up to this point in terms of the fastest lap. As it stands, 1:27 is enough to break the 1,000-point barrier. It will be the first time it's ever happened in ALR. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be at all surprised if it's the last time it ever happened in ALR. It would be one of those where were you at moments, if they can do it. There's Montecat in the back of the field, don't have anything to worry about there. Dark Knight right up there, right on the back of Emery. Emery will have to pit again. So will the Dark Knight. I wonder if Dark Knight is going to go mediums to the end here. Don't know when he pit the first time round, but he is. If he is going to pit again at the end of this lap, because he's running out of fuel, it's going to have to be 20 to the end. I don't know if how much of an ask that is. Here comes Fatban and Vigo. Fatban out on fresh tyres ahead of Vigo now. Needs to have been fighting the entire time. Montecat has left the room, so that will negate the ability to end 15th then. 14th is the lowest he can end. Just helps out NWR's chance of that 181 just a little bit more. Continue on. Vigo still trying to hunt down Fatban. Don't really think there's going to be an opportunity for Vigo to do it now, though. Surely not. Surely not. He's not going to go for it here. No, he's too far back. He didn't get a good exit at all. Too far back to really make anything stick of it. Oh, Vigo looking to take a little bit of a wider line. Fatban takes a shallower line, but it compromises the exit a little bit. Vigo should have him. Vigo should have him here. Should be blitzing him fairly early on. Push to the inside. Looks to have got that move done, and yeah, you could tell from the exit, Batman just got about 1,000 degrees wrong. Got too shallow in the corner, got too wide on the exit, compromised the speed he could have taken through. Vigo did none of that by going wide on the entry. And that allowed for Vigo to just blitz on by against Fatban. Dark Knight and Kevin both into the pits now. Are they going to get out ahead of Vigo and Fatban? We'll go to Aura in a second. These two are going to continue fighting it out as well. Fatban obviously on the fresher tyres. The Dark Knight and Kevin, both of them still out, still in the pit, so that's not going to be a problem as they drop to the last and second last now then. Don't forget, ITM had a driver that ended at the back, so this is good news for P1R. They will both beat at least one driver from the team that's currently in 5th. The problem is that outside of Witchell, they're not really doing much damage elsewhere. Alessandro, if he can get a couple of positions, then they might be in a position to actually steal off that 4th place in the team's championship. Fatban not really able to do anything here. Let's have a look at Aura, now 1.4 seconds off the back of Jensen, so problematic last lap there for Aura. Monkis 9.6 ahead of Jensen and Aura, which is not a good sign. That gap continues to come down. BX now into the pits for the second time. On lap 30 of 49. I wonder if this is mediums to the end then. Would make sense. Would check out. Witchell's going to go one more. Okay, so Witchell going to the end of this lap then. He'll pit the end of lap 31. Now we'll see how close to BX he actually is. There's Lewis in the background with Millis as well. 3.1 seconds split those two. That will set your top 5. All 3 drivers from NWR are in that top 5 at the stands, which means that 181 has just been blown out the water. Might be looking at more to 1,050 rather than 1,000 at this point. Millis is catching Witchell at a rate of knots at the moment. Oh, it doesn't help if you're going to hit the wall like that either. A little bit of a clip there for Witchell. Definitely not going to help if he's trying to hold off Millis, but I don't think he is. Given the fact that he's pitting at the end of the lap, he's kind of locked into that by the fuel. 1.4 seconds still advantage for Jensen over Aura. Let's have a look. Nothing going down. Alessandro, then you've got BX in 9th, is 12 seconds ahead of his teammate. And Vigo is comfortably ahead of Fatban now by about a second, nearly 2 seconds. Someone needs to boot that guy, because that guy is not getting anywhere near this league. He has been banned for intentionally taken out in the Evo. I'm pretty sure that's the same guy. Monkis is 7.1 ahead of Jensen now. That gap's just shrinking. The longer this goes, the worse it gets for Monkis. He got medium tired to you to the end of this race, remember. The longer this goes for Monkis, the less chance he has of actually winning this race, to be honest with you. Witchell into the pits now then. That frees Lewis up to go after Millis. And also frees Millis to start pushing forward. It'll be very interesting to see. I'm not entirely sure. The last time what we saw of him is that he ended in the pit wall. What happened for him to be in the pit wall and then get the 3 seconds after that? I don't know. Not sure how he ended there, to be honest with you, but he did. So he's in recovery mode at the moment. Now 2.8 seconds ahead of Batman and doing a very good job of clearing the Project Platypus driver and trying to attempt to catch the captain of the Project Platypus team in Perry, 4.2 seconds up the road. Witchell comes out in 9th. He is 1.7 ahead or behind a BX, so he has a real opportunity here a gigantic opportunity of beating BX on his debut. Don't forget, BX, for those who actually keep count on a Monday, or have looked at any of the calendars, ALR socials, or anything of the sort, BX is current championship leader in Mondays in Group 3. Currently 8th in this race. But if Witchell can come in on his debut, knock off BX, I reckon that'd be one hell of a debut. Aura into the pits then, so that'll be the last. Oh, no, why is Aura coming? Aura's only gone for flat 32. That means he's going 17 to the end. Oh, that could get interesting. Wonder why he's done that. That's going to get very interesting later on then. Alessandro and Emery, 1.6 between each other. Aura just putting in the fuel now. Now, only assume it's a medium tie going on. It's now 7 seconds between Jensen and Monkes. That gap not really shrinking too much over the last lap or so. If anything, it's actually gained a tenth in Monkes' favour. Aura's gone on to another set of medium tyres. Now, I don't really understand that one. When he put on lap 22, I assumed they would be going well into the 30s here. He would have pitted on lap 34, 35 maybe. Try to do 14 and 13 to the end. That way he could have just pit once and gone onto another set of soft tyres. That one's slightly baffling to me. That one's a little bit baffling to me. Millis and Lewis are going to be fighting each other at some point on this stint then. Lewis has closed that gap all the way from 3 seconds down to 1.5. So Millis is going to come under fire at some point. Let's have a look. So Millis just 1.6 clear. We're going further down. 1.1 is the advantage between the two teammates from ITM. Currently in 6th and 7th. Assume there's one more pit stop for both of those guys. They look to try and snatch a late 4th place in the championship. And if they were to get that off Project Racing, Project 1 Racing, I reckon they would take that. They would take that and run for their ALR debut. Go through. Alessandro, 4 tenths of a second, just trying to get himself close enough to overtake his teammate. Can only assume Alessandro would be let by Emery. This has got to be team orders as well. These two technically fighting for position, but you don't want to get into it as a team. And Alessandro is actually just going to elect to pit. Interesting. There's medium tyres going on the car then. Definitely had more laps in the car in terms of the fuel and the tyres, so that's a choice. Also, Millis has opened the gap back up to 2 seconds with Lewis. 6.2 the advantage out front between Jensen and Monkes. Don't forget Monkes has a medium tyre to use at some point, so his final stint will be done on the mediums, which will give Jensen a prime opportunity. With the fact that Aura's on softs, the fact that Aura's on medium, sorry, Monkes has to be on mediums. Jensen's got a glorious opportunity to win this race. To be completely honest with you. If he really wants to, that is. "21 seconds further back to Millis in 3rd, then Lewis after that. Both still have to pit. Then Aura in 5th to the end. Emery is having an absolute mare of a lap here. It looked like, what looked like a mare of a lap at the top of the hill. Monkes is now into the pits to put the medium tyre on then. Oh, it didn't look good! It's not good at all for Emery! And somehow avoided damage, hit the wall twice. Not entirely sure. Now, especially the second hit, back wheel into the into the wall at the bottom of the hill. Surprised that didn't inflict the rear wheel damage at all. got away with one, I think, is the term that it should be used. Gonna have to be driving a little bit better than that for the rest of this race to really make any sort of dents between him and Alessandro. And then him and any of the top of the group either. Emery into the pits now, the end of 34, going to go to the end. I'll take a look now to see what tyres it is for Alessandro, and it is mediums to the end for Alessandro. Dark Knight on mediums, Kevin on mediums, Perry on mediums as well. All the back group are in current position then. They're all going to the end of this race. By the look to those fuel tanks anyway. You got Alessandro there with Fat Van. Emery will pit into it in a minute. Vigo will have to pit again. I would assume so will Fat Van. No, Fat Van looks like he might be able to go to the end from there. Okay, so we'll take a look now then. Emery out the pits. Medium tyres going on. There's Emery with Fat Man in front of him. And I think Alessandro is going to be just stopped short on getting his own teammate. Now, they need to work together to clear Fat Man. Emery letting Alessandro go by the looks of things. Alessandro to the inside. May have been a little bit late on the overtake, but in terms of team orders, if it was team orders, either way, overtake done for Alessandro, and now Fat Band's the car in sight. They both need to work together to get Fat Band. Then they can go back to their regularly scheduled fighting if they wish to choose to, well, if they choose to do so. You know, Vigo, 8 seconds clear of Fat Band now. Vigo has absolutely walloped Fat Band since he came out the pits. Well and truly a one-sided affair between those two. Go through, Witchell 2.2 behind BX. Now it's going to continue to the end, I reckon. Now it's going to be interesting to see which one of those has the advantage come to their final lap. Over 14 seconds off the back of Lewis, but Lewis hasn't pit for the final time yet. Monkis actually behind Millis. Oh, Millis has gone past Monkis. There must have been a mistake there. We caught a little bit of it. And Monkis is behind Lewis. Jensen has to pit again. So does Millis, but Monkis is having a bit of an issue. Medium to go on. Jensen will have a field day with that. And Monkis, one of the only drivers to, well, one of the very few drivers to have a 100% record in ALR, is in real danger of that slipping away. I wonder if Lewis is going to get out of his way. I reckon Lewis should get out of his way. Unless he's going to have potential to help Monkis try and go after... Yep, that's Lewis out. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind, he's bouncing back. I thought he was out of the way for a second then. Let's have a look. Millis is just starting to get closed in on just a little bit by Lewis, just a little bit by Monkis. Don't forget, Lewis and Millis are fighting for position. I can imagine pit stops are going to go in. There's the late pit stop for Millis. Lewis has stayed out. And now if you're Lewis, the problem is if you move over, you give advantage to Millis again because you've given up that time. If you don't move over, Monkis is going to get annoyed because you are holding him up something rotten. You need the 1-2 at the very least. And we continue on. Lewis not letting Monkis go. I'm very intrigued to see why. Don't forget, Lewis still has to pit. He can't go to the end. There's 12 laps left and less than a quarter tank of fuel. Oh, Monkis! Oh, Monkis and Lewis have come together! And they somehow both survive! They both look like they were legitimately fighting there. And Monkus hit the inside of Lewis's car. That was almost disastrous. Albeit, maybe not disastrous enough to get rid of that 181 point total. But that would have been absolutely disastrous if they both ended up the wrong way. Would have taken a long time to fix that given the place they were in. Jensen, 24 seconds up the road now, so I reckon Jensen's going to be clean pretty much the entire way home. That had been a little bit more, there's a little bit more contact between the two of them. It would have been potentially catastrophic. Not seen two teammates fight like that in a long time, I'll tell you that much. In comes Lewis into the pits here then. Has to be. Yep. I wonder if they were told to just fight. I wonder, we can imagine that when Jensen ends up watching this back, his heart will be in his mouth when he watches that one. Oh, Monkus just sliding a little bit, kicking up a little bit of grass on the way through into turn one. Jensen is a lot closer now, 4 seconds is that advantage. Jensen went on to medium tyres for 11. Am I losing the plot? Why? Just go into another set of softs, surely. Jensen and Aura started on a soft tyre. I'm not losing the plot, right? I'm not going into... Why is he taking mediums? I mean, if he was going to go flex, he's still the fastest lap. I mean... Hey, at least I'm not going insane. That's just a weird choice. It's the same... Or I can somewhat understand because he may have gone a bit too early in terms of his pit stop, selected to end on the medium tyres as well as start on them. Albeit I realistically think he probably should have gone to 34 and tried to do 2 sets of softs. I just don't understand Jensen's thinking. It's just confusing. Yeah, maybe they're caring for the stats at this point. If that is the case, then that's probably the safest way to get Monkus to win. Monkus to win, sorry. That would be the safest way to get that over the line and keep that 100% record intact. That would be the safest way to do it. It's just a very interesting one. I definitely didn't. Well, I think I did survive the rally in the end, but it was just a mess. But yeah, 5 seconds that was going through there. 8 seconds to Aura after that. I'm just not entirely sure why the medium tire's gone on the car for Jensen, to be honest with you. Millis is actually behind Lewis now. Okay, so Lewis, even though he was fighting quite heavily with his teammate, has got himself an advantage over Millis. Lewis and Millis, eh? Not too different. I mean, an absolute commentator's nightmare at some point. I wonder if Millis is going to be able to have a fight back at Lewis here. If FGL got 3-4 at the end of this race, I reckon they'd take that. It's been very symbolist. It's a major symbolism of their entire season. They're just simply being second best. But I reckon they'd take that 3rd and 4th in this race. BX is still ahead of Witchell. Witchell is really, well, is trying. That is true. A little bit more fuel, getting himself in front. Even though he had all the fighting. The fighting almost, the fighting would have taken a decent chunk of time. They went straight for a little while there up the hill. Millis 1.1 second off the back now. Witchell just dropped to 2.2 off the back of BX. So all the progress that he had made in the last lap or so had just been erased. I wonder if we got anything else. Alessandro's still ahead of Fatban. Fatban going to the end with Henry right behind him. The problem you've got for P1R here, with the fact they're only 30 points ahead in the first place, is that albeit ITM have got last. You've got second last at the moment for Kevin. He's comfortably off the back. And you may see that Vigo, I would assume Vigo catches the Dark Knight at the end of this. Don't think Perry will. I think Perry's in no man's land right now. Vigo should catch the Dark Knight or drop him down an extra place. I don't think overall, mainly because Witchell's position, that ITM are going to have enough to actually force the issue here to try and snatch that 4th place. They have given this a good go. Yeah, but I've got to say, Witchell's position is the only thing saving P1R at the moment. All it takes, 26 seconds. It might take more than one mistake. Maybe it might take more than one mistake from Witchell to see that by. But Witchell has done an exceptional job. Yeah, P1R by 38. Witchell is definitely not. Witchell is definitely the doorstopper of that, to be honest with you. Alessandro at the top 7. If Witchell had been a little bit worse off today, Henry would have been in the top 8. It would have been a lot closer than maybe a P1R would have hoped. But Witchell has definitely put his marker on the team, potentially today, to be honest with you. I wonder if he gets dragged to more next season, because he has got a lot of pace. I reckon he sees himself into Lobby A, into a lot of races for Lobby A next season if he continues on this trajectory. Even. Oh, that's a little bit of a slide. That's not. Also, I apparently wasn't learning how to speak English in the last 5 minutes. But yeah. I mean, to be outside of Monster Cat, that decision to run the squad that he had has mostly paid off. I personally think that you'll probably be a little bit closer. As a whole, Witchell, 1.2 seconds. I don't know if Witchell gets close enough at this point. We're going to have a look, because he's been in and around that kind of gap the entire time. He is closing it just a little bit. That last lap went a 1/10 of a second BX's way. This one, half a second in the opposite direction. You can see there's where Witchell's Witchell just had a bit of an advantage, a bit of a comeback here on that last lap. That very zero has done himself a lot of favours in terms of charging down BX. Yeah, I was about to say, we had the incident earlier with Monster Cat getting caught up, and then Ali was caught up trying to go round. Fatban was on the grass. It was an absolute mess in the dark. And it was all Perry actually started that, I'm pretty sure. Remember, memory serves me correct. BX didn't look too good there. Witchell somehow even worse. Neither of them looked too correct on their car coming out of out of turn 4 there. BX just gaining an extra couple of tenths of a second as a result. Let's see if Witchell just too far back now. I think it's just starting to fall back to BX. Witchell just making too many mistakes on this lap. Realistically, to just carve into that gap, that 1.7 seconds now. He's gained all the time back here. And Witchell hit the wall! Witchell hit the wall on the back, and that'll just give BX even more time, and we're back to 2 seconds. Everything he did on the last lap that worked so well, again, that half second has just been handed back on the following lap, and I think that might put a dent in most of the chance he gets of trying to take BX here. It's going to take another barnstorm over a lap for Witchell to be in with a shot. He had gained 2 or 3 tenths of it back in the final sector. He's going to have to take another half second out of this somehow. The lap where you saw about the 3-0. Yeah, you look at 3-7 on the last lap where BX just did a 3-5. It's 2 side tenths of a second the following way, BX's way. Again, he's just kicking up dirt on the exit of turn 1, and it's not going to help him doing that. He's going to have to find a way to take another half second out of BX on 1 lap, or maybe 2 laps here, to get himself in an overtaking position. Top 5, no. Miller's 1.8 seconds off the back of Lewis. And everyone else is very much stations as it was. Monkus 10 seconds. Jensen 4 seconds ahead of Aura. Don't know if there's going to be anything in that for Aura. We'll wait and see. The gap, well, it was 1.2 seconds in Aura's favour on the last lap. I don't really think he's going to get that every lap. We'll see if he's going to be able to continue to yank that gap in then. Jensen not working too well on the mediums. Very interesting now then. 3.5 again. That gap is just gonna keep coming down. If Aura can keep if he can keep coming at this pace. Yeah, you're so lost. Yeah, Aura pit on lap 7 in the race though. So Aura's laps, the pit stop to have all been about 4 or 5 laps earlier than Jensen, the Monkus, the entire time through. So that's where the Aura pit to the mediums came in, because he pit on lap 32 and went 17 laps to the end. So that is understandable to me. I can understand going 17 laps on the medium tyres here. I don't understand Jensen's. Still don't understand Jensen's. But 2.7 seconds now. Aura's flying. 3.1 on the last lap. 5-0 for Jensen. And then more Aura's flying, or the Jensen is all over the place. Jensen's got to figure this out. Otherwise, Aura's going to beat him. Either way, he's still got 6 laps left of the season, right? I'm not tired to give up just yet, to let up just yet. He's really struggling. 2.1 now to Aura. Aura's going to have a glorious opportunity to beat Jensen here. Jensen has not gelled with this medium tyre in the slightest. This has been a fairly one-sided affair in the last couple of laps. It continued to be 1.3 seconds the advantage now. Aura is flying in terms of where he's getting time to get close to Jensen. Jensen is almost feels like he's in auto drive. I'm not entirely sure what Jensen's doing. .0 seconds now. Aura's in slipstream range. Aura is in slipstream range of Jensen. So I wonder what the plan is here for Jensen then. Because Aura's got a brilliant opportunity at second now. Handed it to him, pretty much. If he is trying to let Lewis catch up, he might want to go and get a hold of Lewis and ask what the gap is. Because that 8.5 seconds is not being caught up. It's not happening. Lewis is... This would be something special. If he tries this first off. If it works, it's just unbelievable. If that works. There is no way. And he has already gained 0.3 of a second. 1.4 a lap isn't enough. Don't forget he has to overtake as well. 1.4 a lap would put him right into position to be on the back of Aura. I don't really think it's enough to make the overtake stick. And then you've also got to be in a position where Jensen has to be able to get away because he's dropped so far back. Here comes Aura, the long way round, trying to make sure that Jensen can't do anything. He might actually be trying to get an advantage. Oh, they've come together, and Jensen's round! Jensen's round! Aura and Jensen have come together, and Jensen was just being too clever. irrespective of whether or not Aura called the collision there, that might be the most unnecessary death I've ever seen. He did have the fastest lap the pole. It could have been perfect, but that was so unnecessary. I mean, I think Aura did actually get him. I think Aura got him. I don't know if Aura's enough alongside to require the space. That's the question. That's the question you've got to ask. Here comes Millis to the outside, and it might go from bad to worse for Jensen as of yet. 1,000 points is gonna get. They're gonna get that every day of the week. Yeah. Well, it's just the entire decision from Jensen here is baffling. The genuine. I get that you have the advantage. I get you've won the title. I get that it doesn't really mean an awful lot that you've ended up spinning. But I don't really see why. I can. Now you said it, Platt. I can only assume it is that. Because he was doing a good job. He did take a second or two out of Aura. Oh, went for it in a place you don't usually go for it, but I don't know if he got alongside. I personally, first opinion, think it's Aura's fault. But you just get those when you think it's just completely unnecessary. Here comes Millis on the outside. And then Jensen closes that door. Wow. He definitely had a nose in, but the problem is, we don't define being enough alongside as a nose. He has to be along the rear wheel with his front wheel. If he is alongside with his front wheel, if it's to explain the rule there, on the attacking car has to have the front wheel of his car alongside the rear wheel of the car that they are attacking. If that is not how if they haven't got that and they have then hit the car in front, they will not be adjudicated to have enough space and will have caused the collision. That is the ruling there, so that's the question you've got to ask. That is not a decision we get to make, no, that's a steward's decision, that's a certain. Here comes Millis, looking for a move, doesn't quite go for it here. I don't know if he did. I want another. I wish I had replay. The replays haven't been working for about 20 laps now. That would have been a perfect one to take a second look at. Jensen and Millis are going after each other right now. 5/10 of a second split them. As for the rest, 16 seconds. The Monkeys out in front. Aura in second. 5 seconds clear of Lewis, and Lewis isn't going to catch that in 3 or 4 laps. Not without a mistake. Witchell's got it back to 1.6. The problem for Witchell is that, again, every time he gets that every single time he tries to get that advantage, to close the advantage on BX, he does something that drops it back to 2 seconds. So he's got to find a consistent layup for these last 3 or 4 laps, Witchell, to give him an actual chance. They are together, but it's by 2.3 seconds, 2.6 seconds at the moment. And Vigo's got an opportunity. We saw Vigo got past we knew Vigo would get past Fatman fairly easily. Vigo for FGR just pushing Henry through the corner, both of them getting sideways fairly quickly there. I reckon Vigo's going to blast right by Henry here. And I reckon down the inside shouldn't be too much of an issue down into the final car, into turn 2. Vigo looks to it there. Oh, a little bit more contact! But it's in the wall for Henry! And Henry just drive! He is letting you go! Well, I don't know what caused Henry to slow down there after the contact. Could have got off a lot quicker there. Vigo was definitely letting him go. Vigo aware that he made the contact there. Definitely didn't have enough alongside on that one, not even questioning. We got Kevin behind Perry, Dark Knight in 11th, Fatman in Fatman in 11th, sorry, Dark Knight in 12th. Vigo still behind Emery as we go back into the darkness. I wonder if Vigo got a plan, a backup plan in mind to see if he can try and get past Emery. I reckon there may be an opportunity if he can get past Emery on this lap to go after Alessandro by the end of this race. Vigo has had the pace all day, but the mistakes have been constant. He goes to the inside now. Vigo looking for the inside of Emery. This time it won't be unfair if he gets past. He's well and truly alongside. This time, I think he's got a complete alongside. He's in front, but Emery's going to fight him the entire way down the straight, and Vigo had done extremely well to use the space allotted to him to get in front of Emery, and Emery gave him enough space, just about enough space. Emery down the inside, almost from that camera angle, they dove him. He elected not to, backed out of it, and now Vigo should be able to drive away. Fabian into the pits. This potentially... Well, he definitely did touch him. Well, it definitely looked like he did anyway. Not sure, I agree with that. Look at Witchell again, giving up all that space. Witchell just giving up all that space, and now it's 2.7 seconds again. It's just every single time that Witchell had the opportunity, got it down to 1.2, to 1 second at one point. He'd made an error and it's gone back to 2 seconds. He'd had ample opportunities to get BX today. BX has been very deliberate, very beatable on this track. Not one that Witchell's going to look to... Well, I reckon the race is going to be one that he looks fondly on. Come 7th in this one. It's not bad in the slightest, but I reckon he probably was thinking to himself he could have had more. Vigo cleared Emery quite heavily there. 1.3 seconds straight away. And now Alessandro 3.6 into the distance. We go back into the darkness. Maybe a little bit too much on the time multiplier. Probably would have been better at maybe 14 or 15. We are going to end in the dark then. Go through to the final couple of laps then. We are on 48. Jensen is still ahead of Millis, but it ain't by an awful lot. Which means there is an opportunity for Millis to potentially steal the place off Jensen here. Irrespective of everything that happened, irrespective of Jensen and Aura coming together, it's going to be as easy as it gets in terms of hitting that 1,000-point mark. I don't even have to do the maths. I know you get 84 win mod because it's going to win quite handedly. I know the other 2 points positions are in 70s and 60s, and well, the maths doesn't have to be done very quickly to figure out that that's more than 180. We are on lap 48 of 49. Jensen still ahead of Millis at the moment. Lewis is 3.2 behind Aura. That gap isn't coming down quick enough, not remotely close. Now, had Jensen stayed alive with Aura, or did it a little bit more tactically, potentially, it could have been very interesting to see if Jensen may have actually done it. And he got the Lewis in a position to overtake, but it certainly won't be happening now. Apologies for the sneezing. I don't know why, always have to do it in groups of 3. Jensen still ahead of Millis for now. Witchell 3.2 off the back of BX. That's done and dusted now. Vigo 2.4. Might be doable in the space of the lap and a half that Vigo got to try and chase down Alessandro. He'll get to him, but I don't know if he'll get past him. That's going to be the interesting situation. Jensen versus Millis. Jensen hanging on again. This time for not really put too much pressure on. Around the final corner with Millis and Jensen as we head on to the final lap of the season here. The final lap of the season, lap 49 of 49 at Bathurst to round off season 7. We have one set of history. There is 2 sets of history that had happened before this race had started. When NWR won the title, mathematically won the title before the race had even kicked in. They're going for a trifecta. They're going for a hat-trick of ALR history. And they might be about to get it. Monkus in a couple of corners now, a couple of sectors left on the track. And unless something absolutely insane is to happen. They're about to roll over the 1,000-point mark. The 1,000-point mark is just absolutely insane to have even thought about at the beginning of this season. Nobody's really got close to it up to this point. And I really don't think people will get close to it again. This is well and truly a one-off. It's well and truly a where were you when moment. As we roll through the final corner of Bathurst to win 7 of the 8 races, and 100% record is still on for Monkiss, who goes over the line, and NWR win the race at Bathurst. 49 laps down, 1 over the line. The hat trick is possible. Can they get the other 2 over the line in time, or is going to get himself in second? There'll be question marks over that. Lewis will get over in third, and that will put it almost certain that he gets over. And NWR 1, 2, 3 get the hat trick in terms of ALR history. The nail in the coffin on the season. The 1,000-point total has been achieved. A once in a lifetime kind of history. It simply doesn't get better than that for NWR. They're champions on their debut, and they've done it in commanding fashion. 1,000 points. 4 digits on the board for the Burgundy Red. Wow. Millis gets 5th. BX will get 6th, which will end up in 7th. Great start for him. Alessandro just beats out Vigo in a drag race to the line. Alessandro gets 8th. Vigo gets 9th. Henry will get 10th. The Dark Knight rolls over in 11th. I explained it earlier, Rupi. It's based off how much alongside has Aura got. Fat Van is in 12th. Perry will roll over the line in 13th. Kevin a lap back. We roll through. Perry over the line now in 13th. As for everyone that's still questioning the debate from earlier on, it's simply a case of, has Aura got enough rear and front wheeling? That's the question you have to ask. Well, it's certain there's contact. That's the question you have to ask. Well, I'm assuming that'll definitely be asked to the stewards later on. There's definitely question marks over Jensen's thought process in the first place. Even if Aura is the one that ends up causing the collision, it's just debatably an unnecessary death, that's for certain. But with that being said, that marks the end of Season 7. NWR wins the championship. FGR comes second. The three-peat was not up for grabs. I would like to take this point in time to thank everybody who came out to watch any of the races all season, to spend any time to any time with us the entire season. Thank you for spending your time with us. To those who raced this season, thank you for joining us on this journey. Thank you for being a part of Esports, and thank you for everything that you guys have shown for the last 8 weeks. For those who will join us again next season, we'll see you in the calendar year. For those who are saying goodbye to, hopefully this is not the end. Don't forget, those who haven't said yes or no to us yet, the deadline is the end of the calendar year. We're going to try and find some new teams in the process, see if we can get some of the higher level teams. So if you've got anyone who wants to join, anyone who's got a team that might want to be involved, then please do let us know. But until next time, in terms of esports, we will see you on the 11th of January. Peace.